Hello and welcome back to Euro Football Daily, where today, with just 103 days until the transfer window opens, we are analysing 3 players your club should think about offloading. With finances tight in a COVID-affected market, outgoings will be just as important as incomings, so here's 3 candidates for the chop. Roberto Firmino. Whilst everyone knows that Liverpool have been decimated with injuries this season, with Henderson and Fabinho only starting one league game together in midfield and Gomez and Van Dijk missing at the back, they've also been hampered by the performances of their stars. Very few Liverpool fans would argue that Alexander-Arnold, Alisson or Mane, with 3 league goal contributions in his last 11 games, have had stellar campaigns. But for us, the most disappointing has been Bobby Firmino. No one can doubt the 47-cap Brazilian's monumental impact on Merseyside. Signed in June 2015 by Brendan Rodgers, Firmino is just one of 4 players, along with Gomez, Origi and Milner, signed by the Northern Irishman still at the club. But none of those mentioned have had nearly the same impact as the former Hoffenheim frontman. He's now played 274 games under Klopp, 42 more than any other Liverpool player, and just 7 short of Klopp's most trusted lieutenant of all time, Neven Subotic. Firmino has also contributed 84 goals and 67 assists, at an average of 0.5 goal contributions per game across that period, helping his side to 4 major trophies. But it's abundantly clear that he's no longer the player he was. The 2017-18 campaign saw Firmino score a very solid 27 goals in 54 games, the only time he scored over 16 in a single season. That included 10 in the Champions League alone, as the fabled front 3 all hit double figures, firing the Reds to their first final in 11 years. But just 34 goals and 137 games have followed since, with his average of 0.2 goals per game just 0.1 more than Divock Origi in the same time frame. His drop-off in terms of goal scoring has been most evident in the Champions League, where he's scored just 5 goals in his last 27 games, as many as Alisson player in his last 7. Well, having missed just 22 out of a possible 253 games since the start of 2016-17, under 9% of their total matches, Firmino might well be suffering with burnout, but that is actually far too simplistic. A player running on empty shouldn't be able to fire off 2.7 shots per 90 with 1.7 coming from inside the area, 0.3 more than he managed in 17-18 when he scored a career best 15 Premier League goals. What's clear is that his finishing just isn't what it used to be. His shot accuracy has dropped from 43% in 2017-18, 13 out of all Premier League strikers that season, to just 36%, 82nd in the division below Oli McBurney and Ivan Cavallero. Having underperformed his expected goals spectacularly last season, Firmino is doing so again this term, scoring 4.5 fewer than what the metrics predict, the second worst of any player in the Premier League behind Timo Werner. But Firmino has never just been about pure goal scoring, with his creativity, intelligence and work rate making him, in Klopp's words, key to Liverpool. But whilst he created 126 chances across his first 2 Premier League seasons, 11 more than next best Coutinho, he's only created 80 since the start of 2019-20. Not only is that tally 5th in the Reds roster, but 21 fewer than Mane and 19 fewer than Salah in the same period. Even his much talked about work rate has taken a hit. Across 17-18, he led from the front as Liverpool strangled their opponents into submission, with 2.1 tackles, 5th in the Reds squad and a massive 24 pressures per 90. That stayed pretty consistent over 18-19 and 19-20. with 25 and 21 pressures respectively. But this campaign, well, he averages just 16, with his success rate falling to 29%, a full 6% lower than Mane's. The effect of this has been clear to see in many of Liverpool's games, with the Reds unable to stop sides like Chelsea and Man City building from the back, or sides like Fulham playing diagonal balls across their forwards. Having centred their recruitment around analytics, it surely won't have escaped Liverpool's notice that Firmino no longer offers the goal scoring, creativity or defensive work rate he once did. With Jota now back to full fitness, don't be surprised to see the Brazilian heavily rotated towards the end of the season before a potential departure. Anthony Martial. Whilst 29-year-old Bobby Firmino has been central to a period of success that many players can only dream of, it feels like Anthony Martial is still yet to establish himself as an elite forward. Now 25 years old and in his 6th season at Manchester United, this was expected to be the 25-cap Frenchman's time. After all, 2019-20 saw Martial score over 10 league goals for the first time since his debut campaign and 23 in all competitions. Just the 3rd player to score over 20 in a single season for the club after Zlatan and Lukaku since Sir Alex's departure. but it simply hasn't worked out. A sending off in the third game of the season against Spurs precipitated a shattering 6-1 defeat and a 3-game suspension, and he struggled to get any type of scoring rhythm since then, netting 5 goals in 28 games since the start of November. And whilst many people will point to the arrival of Edinson Cavani as a possible contributor to Martial's struggles, it's not as if he's been permanently sidelined. The Uruguayan has missed 12 games with various injuries and played over 560 minutes fewer than the Frenchman, who ranks 10th in the squad for minutes. And when you compare the two, the differences are startling. The 34-year-old Uruguayan is averaging just 0.1 fewer shots than the Frenchman and has exactly the same number of shots from inside the box. But the former PSG frontman is just far more clinical, averaging a goal every 0.22 shots compared to Martial's 0.09. 11th in the squad, and there shouldn't be an easier time to be a Manchester United striker. Not only do they get to play in front of Bruno Fernandes, who ranks first in the Premier League for key passes and passes into the penalty area, but inside a left flank on fire, with Luke Shaw and Marcus Rashford creating 3.6 chances per 90 between them, 42% increase on 2019-20. Martial's average of a Premier League goal every 372 minutes, just 31 minutes fewer than Scott McTominay, could be excused if he was bringing a lot to the table outside of goal scoring, but he's not. His passes per game have dropped to just 22, the lowest in his time at Manchester, while he now creates just 1 chance per 90, half his tally from 2 years ago. And whilst his dribbles have leapt to 2.2 per 90, 0.5 more than in 1920, he now loses the ball 2.9 times per game when dribbling, 0.6 more than Rashford and 1 more than Greenwood. Even his defensive work rate, never a strong point to his game, has plummeted. At the time of writing, he's averaging just 8.9 pressure per 90, down from 13 last term, and in his 1,488 league minutes, he's completing just 5 tackles and interceptions. Not only is that 17th in the United squad, it's only marginally more than Timothy Fosu-Mensah, who played 81 Premier League minutes before being sold to Bayer Leverkusen in January. All this furthers an image of a player who's either unable or unwilling to help out his side. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has made no secret of his desire to bring in a striker in the summer, in particular Erling Haaland. And in any normal window, that might well mean the end for Martial at Manchester United, especially considering the fact he still has 3 years remaining on his contract and would likely command a fee in excess of £40 million. But with Edinson Cavani not comfortable in England, according to his father, and reportedly interested in a move to Boca Juniors, Martial might just be safe. Marco Asensio. In a similar vein to Anthony Martial, Marco Asensio's career took off like a rocket. He was signed by Real Madrid, the club he'd supported as a boy, from Mallorca in December 2015, before being loaned to Espanyol for the 15-16 campaign. It was a storming success. He contributed 14 league goals, including 10 assists, a tally topped by only 5 players in Spain, and Madristas were excited to see him back in action once he returned. And initially he did live up to the billing. A 25-yard thunder strike on debut in the Spanish Super Cup was followed by a goal in his first league start against Real Sociedad. He contributed 4 goals in the Champions League, including a goal in the final against Juventus, as the then 21-year-old finished his maiden year in the capital with a League and Champions League double. The following campaign yielded a season's best 12 league goal contributions at an average of 1 every 153 minutes. But since then, his progression has completely flatlined, with 15 goal contributions in his last 77 League and Champions League appearances. His average of a goal contribution every 0.2 matches since the start of 18-19 is the same as Lucas Vazquez, who spent the majority of this season at right back. There are, however, extenuating circumstances. A cruciate ligament injury sidelined him for 41 games across 2019-20, and it's quite clear he's still feeling the effects. This campaign, his shots have dropped to just 1.5 per 90, 0.7 less than any of his 4 previous seasons in Madrid, while his key passes have fallen to just 1.3, 9th in the Los Blancos squad. In a side filled with fading legends such as Ramos, Modric and Benzema, and exciting but still raw talents such as Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo, Asensio was supposed to be one of the few players in their prime carrying the 13-time European champions through the transition. But in reality, he's barely contributed. 0.26 goals and assists per 90 ranks 7th in Zidane's squad, below Vazquez and Cruz, and it's not surprising when you look at his numbers. His 0.9 8.3 shots on target per 90 is less than Casemiro, while he ranks 6th in the squad for dribbles per 90, 4th for key passes and 8th for progressive passes too. Zidane appears to be well aware of his fading impact. He started all but 3 of Real's last 16 games in all competitions, contributing just 4 goals, with 2 coming in one game against Celta Vigo, but only completed more than 80 minutes in 4 of those appearances. With Ramos, Hazard and Benzema missing 54 league games between them this term, Asensio needed to step up, but so far he's failed to do so. With his market value having fallen £50 million according to Transfermarkt since October 2018, it might not be the wisest time to sell him. But if Real need to recoup some cash before they can buy this summer, don't be surprised to see Asensio's name filling up the back pages across all of Europe. So that was our scout report and 3 players we think your club should cash in on. What do you think? Let us know down in the comments below. As always, make sure you're liked and subscribed to the channel, and we'll see you next time.